The San Francisco 49ers have been a team full of intrigue and questions this season. And as we dive into what's happening with this squad, it's impossible not to notice the mixed messages coming from the organization. Heading into the NFL trade deadline, the team made a clear statement about their 2025 campaign, signaling to everyone that they do not believe they can compete for a championship this year, even though they were sitting at 6-3 on the season. Injuries have certainly played a role, but this is a team coached by Kyle Shanahan on offense and Robert Saleh on defense. And with leadership at that level, almost anything is possible. History has shown us that the 49ers are capable of defying expectations. In 2021, they reached the NFC Championship game after starting 3-5, and in 2022, they made it to the NFC title game after a 4-4 start. Some might argue that those teams had different personnel, but even with variations in the roster, the coaching, the culture, and the ability to get the most out of players can turn a season around. Playoff experience, especially for a young team, is invaluable, and this team could certainly benefit from it, especially on a defense that has been decimated by injuries. Despite the need for reinforcement, the 49ers decided not to make significant moves at the trade deadline, essentially waving the white flag and putting a ceiling on what this team can accomplish this year. The season was always framed as a rebuilding year, a reset for the future, but context is important. Starting 6-3 in a league is wide open as the NFL leaves room for optimism. The 49ers have the talent to compete with many of the top teams, and while injuries complicate matters, they shouldn't dictate the entire course of the season. The decision not to make moves at the trade deadline was baffling to many, particularly when you consider the defensive needs exposed after injuries like Mikael Williams' setback. The team added players such as Kean White and Clean Furl before the injury, but once the defensive line lost key contributors, the 49ers chose inaction instead of doubling down on reinforcing the roster. To fans watching closely, it appeared the team surrendered on their own potential for this season, despite still being in a position to fight for playoff contention. A critical point here is player development. If the plan for 2025 is building for the future, then playing young talent should be a priority. Yet, the 49ers have been hesitant to put some of these players on the field in meaningful situations. Take someone like Nick Martin, a third-round pick who has shown flashes of elite potential. 2 years ago, when healthy, Martin had triple-digit tackles, double-digit tackles for loss, multiple pass breakups, and was able to generate pressure on the quarterback while holding up in run defense. His athleticism and ability to make plays across the field make him a player worth developing. But instead, the 49ers are giving snaps to veterans like Luke Ford, whose primary contribution should be on special teams. Watching Ford line up at off-ball linebacker instead of Martin, who could be tested and developed for future roles, raises serious questions about the decision-making process. The same goes for other young players. Upton Stout, for example, is given opportunities despite making mistakes, showing that the organization is willing to accept growing pains when they see potential. So why not extend that philosophy to others like Martin? The inconsistency in playing time, roster decisions, and developmental priorities creates confusion about the team's path forward. The balance between developing young talent and relying on veterans is delicate, but the Niners' current approach feels conflicted. Players who could become cornerstone pieces for the team are left on the sideline, while others with limited upside are given prominent roles. On the defensive side, the situation is equally perplexing. Jair Brown, who has struggled in coverage and overall effectiveness, is being used in key roles, while players with higher upside, like Mara Siegel, receive limited opportunities to impact games. Siegel has demonstrated the speed, awareness, and skill to contribute meaningfully, yet the team's management of his playing time is inconsistent. Similarly, young defensive linemen and edge players, such as C.J. West and Sebastian Valdez, have not been given the necessary repetitions in real game situations to evaluate their potential. By keeping them inactive or in limited roles, the team is missing out on the chance to identify future contributors. A team committed to building for the future should prioritize giving these players meaningful snaps even if mistakes occur along the way. Offensively, the story is similar. Jordan Watkins, a receiver with elite college production and proven speed, has not been fully utilized to generate explosive plays in the passing game. Watkins can stretch the field vertically, create mismatches, and provide opportunities for other playmakers by forcing defenses to account for him. Instead, he has seen limited action, which raises questions about the strategy behind player deployment. If the 49ers are genuinely committed to long-term success, players like Watkins should be integrated into the offense to maximize their potential while also helping the team win games in the present. Even when evaluating roster decisions from the trade deadline, the organization's approach seems cautious to the point of indecision. Many fans and analysts argue that the team could have added difference makers to improve the pass rush without giving up significant draft capital. History shows that impactful acquisitions do not always require top picks, as evidenced by other NFL teams successfully trading mid-round selection for players who make immediate contributions. The 49ers defense currently lacks enough difference makers to consistently pressure the quarterback and create game-changing plays, yet the team chose not to pursue aggressive options to improve that area. All of this points to a broader issue. The 49ers are sending mixed signals about their direction. On one hand, they claim to be building for the future, yet they are not giving young talent sufficient opportunities to develop. On the other hand, they are reluctant to make moves to improve the team in the present, even when the roster clearly has gaps. The combination of cautious decision-making, inconsistent player usage, and missed opportunities to acquire difference makers leaves fans and observers questioning the clarity of the organization's plan. For a team with championship aspirations in recent history, these choices are difficult to reconcile with the level of talent and coaching at hand. The team's indecisiveness becomes even more glaring when you consider the potential of players like Nick Martin, Jordan Watkins, and C.J. West. Each of these athletes brings unique skills and upside, yet the lack of trust in their abilities or the unwillingness to test them in meaningful situations is holding back both their development and the team's ability to evaluate its roster. The contradiction between wanting to win in the future while not maximizing the growth of future contributors creates an environment where development stalls and the team's trajectory remains uncertain. This indecision also impacts how veterans are used. Players who provide steady contributions but are unlikely to be difference makers receive more consistent roles, while those with potentially higher ceilings are underutilized. This not only limits the team's ability to identify emerging talent, but also sends conflicting messages about what qualities the organization values. The Niners' approach risks stagnation, as young players who could define the next era of the franchise are left waiting on the sidelines instead of gaining real game experience. By not addressing immediate defensive needs through trades or free agent acquisitions, and by not committing to the development of high-upside young talent, the 49ers are creating a season where the potential for growth is not fully realized. While they may still compete at times, the long-term impact of these decisions could shape the team's trajectory for years to come. The balance between competing now and building for the future is delicate, but the 49ers' current strategy appears conflicted and unclear, leaving fans wondering if the organization truly has a cohesive plan for success in 2025 and beyond. The organization's challenge is to reconcile these conflicting approaches, make decisive choices about player development, and actively pursue opportunities to strengthen the roster. Without clear direction, the team risks underperforming relative to its talent while failing to cultivate the next generation of impact players. In a league as competitive as the NFL, clarity and consistency in strategy are critical, and the 49ers' current handling of their roster and young players suggests a disconnect between intentions and execution. The decisions around playing time, roster management, and trade activity have left fans questioning whether the team is truly committed to developing the young talent necessary to sustain success. Players like Nick Martin and Jordan Watkins have shown glimpses of what they can contribute, yet the limited opportunities they receive impede their growth. By contrast, veterans or lower upside players are often given roles that could be used to accelerate development and identify future building blocks. This misalignment threatens both the immediate and long-term competitiveness of the 49ers, as the most talented individuals are not being adequately tested or developed in real-game situations. The story of the 2025 49ers so far is one of contradictions. A team claiming to plan for the future while failing to consistently invest in the development of young talent. A defense in need of difference makers that has not been addressed, and a roster that has yet to find a balance between veteran reliability and future potential. Fans are left questioning the organization's clarity of purpose, as decisions on playing time, trades, and roster management appear hesitant and sometimes counterintuitive. The talent is present, the coaching is elite, but the execution of strategy does not match the potential on paper, leaving the Niners in a state of uncertainty about their present and future trajectory. As we continue to analyze the 49ers' approach in 2025, it becomes clear that the team is in a complex position. They are in a phase where decisions made now could shape the trajectory of the franchise for years to come. Yet there is a noticeable lack of coherence in how they are handling their roster. The combination of holding back young talent, relying heavily on veterans, and choosing not to make moves at the trade deadline has created a season filled with questions rather than answers. Fans are left wondering about the team's actual goals for the remainder of the year. Is the focus truly on development, or is there still an expectation to compete in a wide-open NFC? The mixed signals make it difficult to understand the organization's true intentions. Looking at the young players specifically, there's a critical need for them to gain meaningful in-game experience. A player like Nick Martin, who has demonstrated remarkable athleticism and playmaking ability, is still waiting for consistent opportunities to showcase his skills. In the preseason, he flashed the kind of speed, agility, and field awareness that could make him a future cornerstone on defense. The fact that he has been sidelined or limited to minimal snaps raises questions about the coaching staff's willingness to fully invest in his development. If the 49ers are serious about building for the future, these are the types of players they need to trust and test in real-game situations, accepting mistakes as part of the learning curve. Similarly, wide receivers like Jordan Watkins have shown elite potential, with speed and ball-tracking ability that could transform the passing game. Yet, they are not being deployed in ways that maximize their impact, which limits both their growth and the team's offensive explosiveness. The defensive side of the ball has been particularly challenging. Injuries have exposed weaknesses, especially along the defensive line and in pass rush situations. The lack of reinforcement at the trade deadline only magnified these issues, leaving the team vulnerable and inconsistent. While the organization did make some acquisitions earlier, such as Kean White and Clean Furl, the subsequent injury to Mikael Williams highlighted that these moves were insufficient to address the team's pressing needs. The absence of a robust strategy to strengthen the pass rush or add difference makers has put additional pressure on existing players, forcing them into situations where their limitations become more apparent. A team with the talent and coaching pedigree of the 49ers should be aggressive in such moments. Yet the approach has been cautious to a fault. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. A shocking whisper has begun to echo through the corridors of the league, and it has Mike Macdonald's name written all over it. According to multiple unnamed sources, the Detroit head coach allegedly unleashed a fiery critique of the San Francisco 49ers, accusing the franchise of questionable practices that, if true, could shake the NFL's foundation. The allegations are said to have been made behind closed doors, but fragments of the conversation are already spreading through social media and team circles, igniting speculation and outrage in equal measure. What exactly did Macdonald say? That's where things get murky and, frankly, tantalizing. Insiders claim he accused the 49ers of operating beyond the boundaries of fair competition, a phrase that many are interpreting as a direct shot at the team's internal operations. Whether he was referring to player management, game preparation, or something deeper remains uncertain. But one thing is clear. The comments have rattled the league office, which has reportedly chosen silence over confrontation. Those close to the situation suggest that NFL executives are hesitant to even acknowledge the matter publicly. It's the kind of controversy the league hates, said one veteran insider familiar with the dynamics between the teams. If they dig too deep, they might find more than they're ready to handle. Meanwhile, in San Francisco, the organization has stayed remarkably quiet. No statements, no denials, no counterpunch. That silence, however, is being read by some as a sign of unease. Fans are already speculating whether there's truth behind Macdonald's outburst or if this is just psychological warfare from a rival coach known for his intensity and sharp mind. Whatever the case, this story has gripped the football world. As the whispers grow louder, the league faces a dilemma: investigate and risk uncovering a scandal, or look the other way and hope the noise dies down. But with Mike Macdonald's reputation for speaking his mind and refusing to back down, one thing seems certain: this storm isn't fading anytime soon. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.